Recently in the Spade Kingdom arc, it has been struggling with a lack of villains, or great villains nonetheless. Even though I think people like Magicula was a fairly underrated villain, but I think Black Clover has struggled in trying to find their staple villain in the series. Now, we can all agree that the best Black Clover villain in the series was Patry to date, because not only that, he had a great motive and a great parallel to Julius Novachrono and his ideals. It just made him so special and so fantastic. But the thing that's stopping Black Clover is its villain cast. There's a thing for villains. You have to make your villains very good, and there can be a villain that can go to good, but to great. For example, things like My Academia has an iconic villain of Tomura Shigaraki, and you have villains such as Dabi, Stain, and others in general who are definitely iconic in My Academia. But recently, a Black Clover antagonist in the Spade arc is probably one of the best antagonists in the Spade arc, and has the possibility to become even better than what Patry was in Black Clover, and his name is Zenon Zogratis. Zenon's backstory is one of the tragic backstories in this arc in the series, knowing that he's the littlest of the siblings, and that he doesn't really have anyone to turn to besides the Fort Zogratis sibling who just wants to taint his life and nothing but devil possession. It's until he meets Alan, his rival, where he gets to change his outlook on life. Zenon's backstory is clearly a parallel on Yuno's life, and shows how Zenon fell from grace and fell from darkness, while Yuno was able to keep that darkness away from him. Alan protected Zenon and didn't care that Zenon's magic looked different or weird, and saw the most in him than his siblings did. Even though the Fort Zogratis sibling tried to sympathize with Zenon and try to steer him down devil possession, Zenon made a friend in Alan. Alan inspired Zenon so much that he wanted to be his rival. He wanted to compete with Alan until they became what they wanted to become, steering Zenon away from his siblings' path. And I think you know the rest of the story. They made it to the Spade Kingdom's equivalent to the Magic Knights, went to a dungeon, and Zenon had to sacrifice Alan to keep himself alive and for the benefit of the Spade Kingdom. Soon and later, Zenon thought that overwhelming power means everything. He thought that tenacity nor emotion means a thing in the face of overwhelming power, and that the weak need to be culled. I think what makes Zenon's backstory even more tragic is that he only had one person to lean towards or to rely on. Yes, he had the Fort Zogratis sibling, but he only really wanted to corrupt Zenon. And Alan wanted the best for Zenon, and Zenon having to off Alan by himself is pretty tragic in the grand scheme of things. Now he's alone in the world, doesn't know what to do now, but all he can do is live with the guilt that he killed his rival and best friend, and that's what made him lean towards that he doesn't want to be weak anymore. He doesn't want to be in the same situation where he has to sacrifice somebody. So that's why he goes to the Fort Zogratis sibling to go and reach for devil powers, so he doesn't have to be weak, and he can call the weak before they make the same mistake he can, or they have to suffer. The capture of William Vengeance and the slaughter of the Golden Dawn is the driving point for Yuno's character and solidifies Zenon as one of the best antagonists or threatening antagonists in this arc as of right now. And we already know from the anime, episode 141 and 148, Yuno has grown to love the Golden Dawn and think of them as a family, and the development has been completely insane, but all that to be stripped away from him. In my opinion, nothing really special is said besides Zenon telling Yuno that it's not because he's weak, it's just because he's far stronger and that he's doing this for the benefit of the Spade Kingdom. This goes to show you that Zenon is different from his siblings. While Vonica and Dante want to do this for selfish desires, Zenon wants to do this to help the Spade Kingdom grow and grow stronger, even if it seems wicked and it basically negates everything that is good in the series. A very interesting encounter is when William and Zenon are having a real scuffle. Well, not really a scuffle, it's just William trying to save his Golden Dawn mates. And it's when Zenon tells him to let go of the baggage and let the Golden Dawn members die. It's when William tells him no, the Golden Dawn are his pride and his dream, and they didn't reject him when he made them walk a path of thorns. Because it ties into William's character arc. William didn't tell the Golden Dawn that he had Patry inside him. He didn't tell Yami that he had Patry inside him. And he let the whole elf arc transpire because he couldn't make a choice between human and elf. And he's trying to gain that trust from his squad mates, from Yuno, from all of the captains and Julius. And he did this by owning up to everything he's done and protecting the Golden Dawn like he should have in the beginning of the series. Zenon hates that William's doing this because Zenon sees a little bit of William in himself, because William is now protecting the people that he couldn't protect in the beginning of the Elf Saga. And now Zenon basically did kill Alan because he lost faith and didn't want to have any baggage on himself. And that's why he's trying to capture William by killing the people around him to make William fumble the bag, but it didn't work because William stayed strong to his conviction. I think William deserves a character analysis on himself later down the line on my channel, so if you want to see that, comment that down below and tell me what you guys would think about William analysis on why he's one of the best written captains in Black Clover. But the aftermath of the Golden Dawn massacre leaves half of their squad dead, and only 2 named Golden Dawn members that we know is Sheeran and Hammond, but this detriments Yuno's psyche and basically mentally breaks Yuno, knowing that he wasn't strong enough to protect his Golden Dawn mates, and that he needs to get stronger to get revenge on Zenon and get William back. Now, Yuno vs Zenon is probably one of the best fights in this arc, and fueled by vengeance, fueled by wanting to avenge his comrades, and fueled by wanting to save William vengeance, Yuno and Longus finally confront Zenon. But before they do all that, Zenon decides to let the ancient demon kill all the civilians in the Spade Kingdom. The real fight, the real peak fiction of this arc finally begins. Yuno versus Zenon, and a little bit of Longus in it. While these 3 are fighting, Zenon makes a comment that just because that you have emotions and tenacity in front of his overwhelming strength, just like William Vengeance, you will fall here and lose. It's a foolish endeavor seeking out vengeance. Zenon's character definitely parallels more to just Yuno. He parallels both Longus and William. It helps both of these characters grow, well, mostly Longus in this arc, but I'll talk about him in a little bit. When it seems like they have the upper hand, when Yuno finally blasts Zenon in the hole in his chest, Zenon finally goes into his 100% form because of the first gate opening. And it looks like right now, these guys are having a difficult time matching Zenon in his 100% form. But Yuno has a plan, and this time, unlike Zenon, he tells his ally that he has a plan that can defeat Zenon. And we already know that Zenon didn't tell Alan that he had a plan, or that he had a move that can defeat Zenon in just 1 blow. Zenon kept it to himself and wanted to wait for an opening, which cost Alan his life. And with Longus finally accepting Yuno as the vice captain of the Golden Dawn, Zenon knows that Longus doesn't stand a chance, and that his overwhelming power will just overwhelm him even more, and that Longus should just know his place and give up and die. But Longus doesn't give up, and he jumps in front of Zenon, and knowing that he could possibly die, the faith that he has in Yuno is beautiful, and Yuno, even though he doesn't kill Longus, it shows the faith that he has in Longus, and that he wouldn't go and kill him. The thing that made Zenon and Yuno so different is that Yuno had faith in somebody like Longus. He knew that Longus could hold him off and give him that opening, but he didn't kill him, while Zenon didn't have faith in Alan, and he didn't know what to do. He decided to risk Alan's life, which got him killed, and killed the demon in the process. Zenon may have succeeded, but he lost a friend. What makes Zenon's backstory so sad is that he got hit by circumstances, by the cruel world and cruel reality that his dream can't come true unless he has power. And his devil bargain, what makes it even more sadder, is that he gives the last remaining remnants of his humanity, and the hole in his chest basically showing the hollowness that he had after Alan's death. Zenon gives up everything. He gives up his soul. He gives up his whole being to Beelzebub just so he can get the power to defeat Yuno and Longus, and so he can see his dream come to fruition. And he doesn't care what happens to him next as long as the Spade Kingdom survives. And his reminiscence with Alan as his heart. Alan was his heart, but now it's gone, and he sold it to Beelzebub. This form represents how far Zenon has gone and how he lost his own way. Zenon now is a shell of his former self who had decent intentions, now becoming the devil that basically killed Alan, becoming the bullies that bullied him. And pushed by his siblings and the Force Zogratis siblings, he didn't have the right guidance. While Yuno, he had that guidance. Asta, the church, the Golden Dawn members. Speaking of Yuno, Zenon tells Yuno that he thought that they were alike, but if he wanted to kill Zenon, he should have killed Longus as well. But since he didn't do that, that's why he lost. That's why he failed. This definitely gets Yuno thinking, and the characterization, in my opinion, of Yuno has been very good and depicted very well in this arc in the series, but it makes it come full circle. Yuno has never cried before, because after the vow that he made with Asta, he stopped crying. But now he's breaking down because he feels like he lost everything and that he can't win even if he can get up. He's losing to overwhelming power the same way Zenon was crying in the dungeon. But Yuno wipes those tears away because he has somebody that he needs to compete with and somebody that he can't fail, which is Asta, the dead Golden Dawn members, and saving William. Yuno is no longer the same Yuno from the beginning of the series. He's a new Yuno. He is Yuno of the Clover Kingdom, the Yuno who was entrusted as the vice captain by Longris and William, the Yuno who will defeat Zenon, the Yuno who saved the Spade Kingdom, and the Yuno who will become the Wizard King. And the reason why Zenon says he wants to crush Yuno even though he's the prince, because Yuno is standing in his way on this perfect world that he is envisioning. And with everything that he's done, he doesn't want it to go to waste because Yuno is trying to come back and take everything that he's been working on. This is a battle about who is correct in their ideals and their ways of thinking. It's two sides of the same coin. While these two cross blades and finally attack after star magic, after everything, Zenon thinks to himself that he has got the upper hand and that Yuno can't destroy a devil's heart. Before I get to the climax of that battle, Zenon gets a flashback with the Force Zogratis siblings saying that with their powers they can make the undying bodies and recreate humanity, saying that the weak always die and they're hard to protect, so let's kill them all at once and make the undying bodies. This is where Zenon's ideology stems from. He's no longer just killing people because they're weak, he's killing them because they're weak, and that he thinks that they can come back in the undying body and make a peaceful kingdom where no one has to fear death. A noble effort, yes, but still a wrongdoing. I wouldn't be surprised if Zenon thought that he could probably one day bring back Alan with these undying bodies and they could finally be rivals like they dreamt of. And what parallels Yuno and Zenon so much is when Zenon says this is his victory, while Yuno tells him, you mean it's our victory, because Zenon has always been alone. He's always closed himself off from everyone, while Yuno has had people, the Golden Dawn, William, everyone has been there to support him. And now with Yuno finally having Saint Stage, Zenon is defeated, his heart getting sliced in two, and Zenon is now looking back on his life and just tells Yuno that what made us so different. Even though Yuno still doesn't know the answer to that yet because he still hasn't completed the vow that he had with Asta, it makes Zenon think about Alan on what they could have been and them finally announcing that they would be rivals. And it's a sad reality, but it's Zenon finally being content with his life and everything that he's been through and the mistakes that he's made. Zenon, with the right guidance, could have been Yuno, but Yuno, without that guidance of Asta, the Church, the Golden Dawns, he could have been just like Zenon, or even worse. I think this is a great way for Zenon's character and arc to end, even though I think that he could come back due to the undying bodies, but I think it's a great way to end off the video. Zenon is somebody who is fueled by overwhelming strength and has saw it before. He wanted to get stronger so he could never be put in that position again, and wanted the peaceful people in the Spade Kingdom to live on forever, even if it meant killing them and bringing them back with the undying bodies. I think after this analysis, I think this definitely solidifies Zenon as one of the top 2 antagonists in Black Clover and helps it a lot in its villain cast. But that is sadly the end of the video. And if you did enjoy this video and want to see more analysis like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell notification to always stay notified whenever I upload a video. Well, it has been the Red Cloak. I'm gonna head up out of here, guys. Peace out. And I'm out, guys. Peace. Have a good rest of the day. Stay safe and enjoy yourself.